Good morning, everybody. MG here from mgcovers.com, bringing you another NHL betting preview for March the 5th, 2019. We got a really big card tonight. Going to give you a complete statistical breakdown and analysis of every game. Quick recap last night. We went 2-0 in hockey, hit 2 dogs. Really excited about that. It's always good when you can sweep, especially when you're playing dogs. And we actually went 2-0 in NCAA basketball, so a complete 4-0 sweep for us. So anyway, enough with yesterday. Let's get started on today's games. Okay, if you're new to the channel, here's what we do. We use a power ranking in order to handicap our NHL plays. It's a combination of even goal differential combined with power play percentage, combined with penalty kill percentage. Apologize for the dog barking in the background. But anyway, and we only use stats from the last 10 games. Those are the most relevant and are more predictable on how the team's going to perform tonight. 120 is the highest power ranking. That means that team has a 60% chance of winning the game. 80 is the lowest on the power ranking number. That team has a 40% chance of winning the game. All right, so let's start up. Game of the night. Really excited to watch this game from a fan perspective. Have Carolina coming in as the dog, plus 125, have a power ranking of 130. On the road to face Boston. My opinion, probably the only team that can rival Tampa for the Cup. You might disagree, but it's definitely they definitely could take Tampa, I believe. They are the favorite, 147. They have a power ranking of 127. This game is really, at 130, we basically round that off to 120. So both teams have a 60% chance of winning the game, or if you want to say both teams have a 50% chance of winning the game, it's basically a toss-up game. But the value is actually on the Carolina side. So we would actually like to play, or actually like to look at Carolina further. And just to explain that a little bit further, you said, well, Boston, would they have equally as much chance to win as Carolina? They would, but the line that we would make for Boston would be minus 150. So you're actually losing 3% of value there. So there's not really any value in playing Boston or looking at Boston. And if the lines were reversed, we would be looking at Boston instead of Carolina. So we'll look at Carolina a little bit further. Next game, Columbus minus 222. Still haven't put it together since the trade deadline. Picking up some good talent, but just hasn't turned into anything positive yet. They have an 88 power ranking going on the road to face New Jersey. 91 power ranking. New Jersey's battling a lot of injuries right now. They come in as a dog, even though they're at home at plus 180. Value is on the New Jersey side. We'll look at that game closer. Next, Ottawa plus 275. Huge dog. 86 power ranking on the road to face the Islanders. Minus 357. That's a lot of juice to lay. They have a power ranking of 102. No value there. Obviously, well, I say no value there. If you were just, this is a good point too. So the value, if you made me play, if you held a gun in my head and said you got to pick one team, I'd play Ottawa 275. But when you're handicapping money lines, in the spread, if you're handicapping spreads, you can still win the game if your team doesn't. You can win the wager if your team doesn't win the game. Money line, hey, you got to win the game in order to get paid. So we have to have at least a chance to win the game, and I just don't feel like Ottawa's playing well enough to pick up the win on the road. Next, Florida, plus 160. They have a power ranking of 117. A lot of shootouts at overtimes here lately. On the road to face Pittsburgh, always a tough out at home. They're minus 189. They have a power ranking of 115. Value is on the Florida side. We'll look at that game closer. Next, Winnipeg, plus 165. They have a 94 power ranking. On the road to face the best team in NHL, Tampa, minus 200, 132 power ranking. If you were looking to play Tampa to avoid some of that chalk, you might consider Tampa on the puck line or even Tampa on the three-way line. I haven't checked what those odds are. They'll be considerably lower. Probably still juice money, but a lot better than laying minus 200. Next, Minnesota, plus 160. Have a power ranking of 91. On the road to face Nashville, minus 182. These teams just played 2 games ago, so this is sort of a revenge favor in Minnesota. Nashville really struggling to score goals. They are at a 78 power ranking, so we have value with Minnesota at plus 160. We'll look at that game closer. Next, New York Rangers plus 170. 97 power ranking. On the road to face Dallas, minus 200. Both teams kind of underperforming here lately. Dallas has a power ranking of 89, so we have some value with the Rangers at 97. A little inside. 100 on the power rankings is right at 50% chance of winning, so they're real close to having a 50% chance of winning. That's why we favor Rangers. So the line would be ballparkish, probably plus 110, something like that. So we have value there. And I'll explain that later. Next, Detroit plus 180. They have an 80 power ranking on the road to face Colorado, minus 222. Colorado 105 power ranking. They were up to about a 115. They've fallen down here recently. Excuse me. Anaheim plus 140. 95 power ranking on the road to face Arizona. Really, really, really good team right now. Showing a lot of improvement here in the second half of the season. They're favorites at minus 161. They have a 109 power ranking. And finally, the last game, Montreal, minus 135. They have a 90 power ranking on the road to face the Kings, who are underdogs at plus 115 with a 77 power ranking. And to explain that briefly, you would say, hey, we have Montreal has a higher power ranking than LA Kings. That is true, 13-point differential, but you had to lay 135 juice, and a 90 power ranking would equate to about a plus 120 dog. So we're not going to lay juice money for a dog team. All right, so let's look at these games a little bit closer. This is what I call the money line conversion. I'm going to show you the odds that are listed for the team. I'm going to show you my line for the game and give you some situational angles to consider as well. We don't just have like quote system plays where we go A plus B equals C. We have to actually look at some, what I say, subjective factors. The objective factors would be the actual line and how I create the power rankings. Subjective is looking at different situational angles. Not really stat related, somewhat, but it just kind of gives you an overall look at the game as a whole. So Carolina, they come in as the dog, plus 125. Obviously, I mentioned this earlier, our line for the game is minus 150. 60% chance of winning. Boston has the same chance, so they're really even. Carolina playing with a lot of confidence right now. They've won 5 straight games. They also have a winning road record, 18-3 on the road. I mean, again, Boston's just as good. They won the last 9 out of 10. There's no goalie advantage. Haylock has given up 1-2-0-1-3 in his last 5. McElhaney has given up 2-0-2-1-1, so both goalies are playing lights out. The only thing I would say in this game would be the advantage would be to Carolina is that Boston has a lot of injuries right now, or here recently. A lot of guys are not going to play tonight, it looks like, so maybe a slight edge with Carolina. Next, New Jersey, plus 180. Odds listed for that game, my line is plus 120. That gives them a 45% chance of winning the game. We use stats from the last 10 games, so that's why. New Jersey's won one of the last 5. So even though their power ranking is decent, they've only won one of their last 5. They're battling a lot of injuries right now. They do have a winning home record at 17-12. They've just really struggled to score goals here lately. They're terrible on the penalty kill and not really scoring a lot of goals. Don't really have a goalie advantage. Snyder's given up 5-1-4-0-1 goals in his last 5 starts. Bobrovsky 4-4-3-4-0. Maybe a slight goalie advantage if any, but pretty much they're both average. Columbus, one thing to note, is playing their 3rd game in 4 days, even though the first 2 were at home. So I mentioned this in a lot of videos. When a team's playing their 3rd game in 4 days on the road, they are heavily fatigued. They will be fatigued somewhat, probably more so than New Jersey, who will be rested, but those first 2 Columbus games were at home, so it's not like they're not like it would be if they played all 3 on the road, and they were off last night as well. All right, moving on. Florida plus 160. My line for this game is minus 145, giving Florida a 59% chance of winning. Florida, let's see, has struggled here lately. Only won 1 of their last 5, but 4 of those games were in overtime or went to a shootout. Florida is also playing their 3rd game in 4 days, and like the previous game, the first 2 were at home, so they'll be fatigued somewhat, but not as much as they would be playing 3 or 4 on the road. Not really a goalie advantage per se in this one. Probably both would be. I'm looking at my notes here. Both would probably be average. And one other note: Florida has a losing road record at 12-14. Next, Minnesota, like this game here, they are plus 160. Our line for this game is plus 120. So we have 40 points of value there. We give Minnesota a 45% chance of winning. And one thing to note, we have Nashville at an 80 on the power ranking, rounded up, which means they only have a 40% chance of winning the game. So you're getting, in essence, how to look at this from a handicapping perspective, you're getting plus 160 odds on a team that only has a 40% chance of winning the game. So there's a really, really, really excellent value there. Minnesota has won the last 4 or 5. The only loss in those games coming to Nashville. Minnesota will be fatigued a little bit. Their third game in 4 days. But the previous game was at home, so not as much as it would be if they were on the road. They have a really good road record, 18-14 on the road. So they have a winning road record. Goalies, looks like Picarino is going to be in the pipes for Nashville. He's given up 3-2, 5, 1-3 in his last 5. And check out Dubnyk, really, really, really playing well. He's given up 2, 1, 2, and 1. So we do have a really good goalie advantage there, even though these guys are on the road. And finally, our last game, Rangers at plus 170. We have them at plus 110, 48% chance of winning the game. So we have some value there. Rangers have, unfortunately, lost their last 4 out of their 5 games, so not really playing with a lot of confidence right now. Do not have a winning road record, and on the road to face Dallas. Dallas always strong at home. Bishop in the pipes for Dallas has given up 1, 2, 2, 4, and 1 in his last 5 starts. Lundqvist looks to start, and he's been average at best. So that's a breakdown, and before I reveal my plays for today, I want to go over something really exciting. We announced this yesterday, NHL over-under plays. I was originally going to release a over-under video and how to handicap totals in the NHL, but the results were like so good that there was no way I could possibly give it away for free. So, and again, that's no BS. That's just exactly how it went down. So what I'm going to do is we're going to offer these selections so you can still take advantage of the plays. You can click a link in my profile on Instagram. We'll have a link in the description box below. And it's a to tell you about it, if you're just now checking this out, I just back tested. I came up with a total. It was really a unique way to look at totals, but it was very simple. And we back tested it. We were, for January and February combined, testing it was 54-19, so that's hitting it over 70%. In 2 months, a $100 player will be up $3,100. A dime player would be up $31,000. So it's a really effective system. It's already 4-2 for the month of March. So it's definitely working. We actually have 3 plays for tonight. So if you want to pick that up, just click a link in the description box. It will take you over to the site, Dogs and Aces. It's my partner. They have everything set up, so legit site, secure, and you'll be able to get those. We have 3 plays for today, so our daily plays are going to be $25. If you want to do it for a week, that would be $75. All right, so now on to our selections for today. We like Minnesota plus 165. Whoever you're picking today, good luck. Hopefully it's a winner. Don't forget to like this page and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. I would like to get to 100 subs at some point. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, just click the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified when we update future videos. So everybody has a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.